Welcome, everyone, to episode number 11 of our podcast, Motivate to Move. I am John Lagroff.
And I'm Diane Treit.
And Diane, today we have a lady that you cannot tell me, this lady, she's done everything. And I mean, I'm looking at the bio here and it's just crazy. Like, have you ever heard tell of women's football before? She does that. Hiking the Dobson Trail, she does that. She runs, she walks, she bikes, she does yoga, she travels, she does CrossFit. I mean, she's the mother of 2 boys and 2 girls, and she works from home. I don't know how she has time to do anything else. What do you say, Diane?
I don't know how she had time to come here today and talk to us, but I'm excited to talk to her.
I'm very excited to talk to someone that's this motivated and this busy to move, that's for sure. Melanie Marshall, thank you very much for being with us today. Why don't you just give us a little bit of background about yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, like I said, I'm a mother of 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. Kids are all almost grown. 2 of them are 19, one's 21, and our youngest is 14. So, it's at that stage where, because they're in that self-sufficient phase of life, that we are, it kind of helps me be able to balance. But learned a lot about multitasking.
I hear you.
My daughter is she's studying aesthetics. I'm not very good at that. Aesthetics at Alley Beauty. So tonight while I'm doing this, she's giving me a pedicure. So I'm helping her out. She's helping me relax. It's all about the multitasking in this house.
That's wonderful.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of things like that. They've always been very supportive of me and what I need and giving me, some me time. And we've all kind of worked together to find a balance that works. It's busy. My spouse is really great at helping me with the balance. And, on days where I need to be at either the gym or work or, doing stuff with the kids, if I can't be somewhere, he's always there to help pick up the slack on the other end. So that definitely helps.
That support is really important, isn't it?
It is, definitely. So a little bit about me. I'm 40. I just turned 40 this year. And I decided that 40 was going to be, I wanted to say, an epic birthday. I wasn't going to let, the number bring me down. I took the day off work. I sat in my backyard. I started with mimosas at 8 a.m.
This sounds like a perfect birthday.
It was. Friends came over and we had birthday coffees, and friends decorated my front lawn with 40 selfies of myself.
That's good.
Driving by and honking all day. And then my husband arranged for the kids to have transportation wherever they needed throughout the weekend. And he shipped me and him off to a campground for the weekend so we could just relax and get away. And we went hiking and explored. So
Melanie, I know you are very physically active right now. You do so many different things.
I would say it's crazy. Holy cow, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's just so much stuff. It's crazy. I mean, I didn't even mention it all in the intro, and I feel bad that I didn't. Sorry, go ahead, Diane.
No, but crazy good, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely crazy good, yes.
So I just want to know, Melanie, have you always been physically active?
Not always. In high school, gym class was the class I hated the most. When I got into my later teens, I did a lot of walking, but that was more out of, I needed to get from point A to point B. I didn't have a car, and I lived out a remote road in the middle of nowhere, and all my friends were in the center of the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got older, had the kids, and decided that, I need to be better for them because I struggled with my weight my whole life. So it was up and down. And I got to a point where I was probably close to or just a little bit above 300 pounds. And I'm like, okay, this needs to change. I need to do something so that I can be around for my kids. The point where I can't walk down the street or walk up the stairs without feeling winded made me feel like there was more to it. And, we go for hikes or walks, and I always felt like there was a fitter person inside and that I needed to find that person. So that's kind of what led me to trying new things and being more active.
And you certainly did find that person inside of yourself.
I would say, wow.
You have had a tremendous journey, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So I want to know about football. How did you get into women's football?
And do I ever want to know about football? Yeah.
So I know nothing about football. I still really know nothing about football.
Me too.
Watch it and I'm like I don't know what they're doing. Trying to learn, but couple of years ago, so not last year but the year before, friends had signed up to start playing, and she was posting all over the place like, we're looking for players, come and try it out. You don't need to know anything, we'll teach you. So that kind of got me going, this is a challenge, and I like a challenge. I will push myself. So I messaged her, and I'm like, I'm kind of interested, but I was still a little heavier, and I'm like, I don't think I can do this. Like, my activity's not quite where it should be to be able to do this. And she's like, no, like, come and play. You will love this. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. I went to practices, and the coach is like, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. Like, you're picking things up really quickly, and I already know where I'm going to put you.
And where was that? Where did your coach put you? Because I'm curious to know what position you played.
Starting offense and starting defense. I was kind of in the position names: right tackle, right guard, I think.
Yeah.
So that's where I started off. I got to a point where I really started to crave the sound of the shoulder pads, helmets, like when you have that connection when you're hitting people. This is a rush.
So you did learn to love it, didn't you?
I did.
Is it tackle football?
It is. It's full-on tackle.
Full-on tackle. So with the 2020 being what it is, how did that work out?
So we were starting our training. We usually start December, the end of December, January, and we start in the gym, just doing a lot of conditioning, running, getting used to like catching the ball, getting a feel for new players, seeing if can they catch. We bring out the mats and we learn how to tackle bags. We learn positionings, things like that. And then usually the end of March, April, we'll start hitting the field with our gear, and then that's where the real fun, or I like the real fun starts. But we always do it in a way where we're not full on as if we were in a game, just because we don't want to hurt each other, right? We don't want to hurt the other players either, but we're a little harder on them than we are our own teammates. We were through the gym time, and we were just getting ready to hit the field, and then COVID happened, and we had to put a stop to everything.
Wow, I had no idea there was so much to football. I thought it was just a game you played on a field. I didn't realize you had to train through the winter for this.
Yeah, it's strength training, conditioning. I mean,
you need to be in pretty good shape then.
Well, in a sense, yes.
Yes.
But one thing I learned is anybody can play. It doesn't matter your shape, your size, physical capability. When they come in and we start training people, you're going to learn, and we're going to find a spot where you're going to fit, right? So,
okay. What do you think, John? Should I try it?
Well, I'm sure you probably will, knowing you, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, it's tempting. It sounds awesome.
Oh, I bet you would love it, Diane. I'm sure you would. I think it's awesome, Melanie. I mean, this is just total craziness, and you seem to be the perfect person to deal with all this stuff because you do so much stuff. It's great.
And I always thought football was a dangerous sport because I see people out there pushing each other down, and I thought it would be very, very likely to be injured.
I thought that at first too, and that's why we do all the training, right? We learn how to fall properly so that we don't get hurt. We learn how to hit properly so that we can take somebody down without hurting them.
Huh. So January, huh?
January.
There you go, Diane. You're up for it.
Man. And you do CrossFit too. How long have you been doing the CrossFit?
So I started with a boot camp in 2015. So it was just, that wasn't like the heavy weights or gymnastics or anything. That was a lot of stuff that you would get, I guess, with a personal trainer at a gym, burpees, running, push-ups, squats, like that kind of stuff, but it was just at a higher intensity. And then when the trainer that was coaching that was no longer able to offer it, he come over to me and a couple other people that were in the class and said, you know what, the guy that owns the gym here, he really thinks that you guys should sign up and do the next level. You know, it's one of those things when you hear CrossFit and you see videos of people doing it, it's very intimidating. I was like, whoa, like crazy. I can't do that. But I gave it a try, and now I can't imagine a day without having that in my life. You know, it's a sense of community. Like our gym is very community oriented. It's gives me an empowerment that I never thought I would have. And it's just, you know, overall the health benefits that I've gotten from it are amazing.
Wow. I seen some videos of it, and I was listening to Joe Rogan talk about it. Yes, Joe Rogan, I was listening to him. And it looks really, really tough. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It just looks extremely hard. Are you still doing CrossFit now? Are you going to the gym for that right now, though, after all this virus stuff?
There's squares, so you come in and you get in your square and you stay in your square for your workout. So we don't have to worry about that. We sanitize all of our equipment before workout, after our workout. They sanitize the gym between classes. You know, they make sure that everything's in a safe place. And they follow the same guidelines, right? They do the COVID check, making sure that you don't have any symptoms. If you have symptoms, you stay home.
Right. It's obviously physically demanding. And there are some people in the exercise industry that believe that some of these CrossFit movements are not designed for endurance at all, that they are designed for power. And this one fellow that they were talking about on Joe Rogan, the Steve Maxwell, a strength conditioning coach, he believes that it's detrimental to your body overall. Now, is Steve Maxwell totally crazy, or do you have any opinion on this at all, or am I crazy for even asking?
I mean, it's like anything, right? It's going to depend on what level you're taking to. You know, I know some of the top athletes in the CrossFit community. They're probably a lot harder on their body than me, because they're training 12 hours a day, if not more. You know, like 5 to 7 days a week. Like this is their job, right? They're getting paid to do this. They're getting paid to train. They're getting paid to compete. They're probably got a little more wear and tear. Me, I will train anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week. It depends on the week and what I have going on. And, you know, I listen to my body. If I know that, hey, I can't do that movement right now, then there's always an option to do this, to get the same benefits, but not have to push yourself, not bad uncomfortable, like a good uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from.
And I was just reading today that CrossFit Incorporated has claimed that it is safe. It's safe and effective if you perform with good technique. They claim that there's risk of injury with any exercise program, and that the percentage of people injured through CrossFit is consistent with people that are injured in other exercise programs.
And since Diane brought up risk of injury, let us just say right now, while we're talking about this subject, that do not try any of these things on your own without going to see your doctor first. If you have any doubts, please see your doctor. Don't just go into the gym and start doing everything that Melanie's doing.
Exactly.
You're going to hurt yourself.
Exactly. And CrossFit Incorporated also suggests that you can reduce your risk of injury even further by scaling back or modifying the workouts that you find too difficult.
Exactly. And so with our environment, we have like you have to go through, I want to call it like a certification, or like we call it our on-ramp. So you have to go and you work one-on-one with one of our trainers, and you learn, okay, these are the basic movements. This is what you're going to do. This is what the bar feels like. So you have that initiation, but you know, you don't just walk into a class with no knowledge of anything, because that's
right
where you're going to get hurt. And our coaches all go through a training so that they are certified, or they know, you know, these are the way things should be done. At the beginning of each class, they go through the movements. You know, it's not just here's the workout of the day, go have fun. They walk through every movement. They show you what your positioning should look like. They encourage you to not go heavy, work on your technique, build on that kind of stuff. And they're walking around the class to make sure that you're following the proper technique. So they're giving you corrections, they're giving you feedback. If they feel like you've got too much weight on, they're telling you to take weight off.
So first you work on your technique, proper technique, and then you build on that.
Exactly.
You also do some running, but you're currently not running much because you're injured?
Yes. I've been struggling, battling. I had some plantar fasciitis injury on my right foot. I got that one taken care of, and it's feeling great. It's been a year, and now my left foot is doing things.
Oh, no.
You're not jealous that you had to get hurt too. So I've been working with my physiotherapist on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's more. It feels like my heel is bruised if I run too much or I push too much.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
No, and it's very hard mentally. You're like, okay, I used to be able to do this.
Until you can't do it.
Exactly. So it's sometimes it's that mental aspect of things where you have to tell yourself, no, you still can do this. It's in your best benefit that you take it slow, right? I look at my pace and I'm like, oh man, like that time's horrible. But no, it's not. It's just feels that way because I used to be able to go faster.
What percentage of this would you consider mental, Melanie? Like, would you consider running, exercise, CrossFit, football? What percentage out of those activities would you consider to be mental? Like, would you consider it to be half and half? If you don't train, if you don't have the mental attitude, you can't do these things properly. Like, have you ever thought about that?
I think about it all the time because it is. I want to say it's a pretty big percentage because there's those mornings you get up and you're like, oh, I should go for a run, or oh, I should go to the gym, right? You know you need to do it, but then you're like, oh, I'm cozy in bed, or oh, it's cold outside, or you find excuses, but you want to get away from those excuses.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
For me, the activities that I do, that like the running, that's my me time. I don't have anybody. Well, my son runs, but nobody else in the house likes to run. My son's a 14-year-old boy, so when he runs, he's like, I want to run. I want somebody to run with me. I like to be able to talk. And he runs 3 or 4 minutes per kilometer, like it's crazy fast.
Yes, he probably wants to run fast.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do that.
No.
And I'm like, when I run, I'm like, it's very hard for me to talk. You might get a yes or a no, or but like I don't run and keep up a conversation. So I made that, okay, this is my time. I use it to clear my head. Whatever thoughts I had, I just kind of think them and then they go away. And just, you get into the rhythm, and sometimes you don't even realize what you've done or where you've gone. And that was really great. I can't believe that it's already been, so many kilometers. And those days where you're like the exact same run is like, oh my God, is this ever going to get done?
I know. And you keep looking at your watch. How far am I from home?
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of it that's very mental.
And I know I met you once in Mill Creek after dark. Do you remember that?
Yes, I turned a corner and there you were.
It was after dark. I was running with my friend Michelle and my other friend Dennis. And then Michelle's husband joined us. And it was dusk when we started, but it was dark by the time we finished. And the two boys ran off ahead because they were faster than us. So Michelle and I, we just decided to stick to the main trail while the boys went off on this looped trail. So we reached the junction of the main trail and where the looped trail was going to come out, and we saw a headlight coming. And we said, oh, that's the boys. Let's scare them. So we turned off our lights. We turned off our lights thinking that this was Scott and Dennis coming. And then when the light got closer, we realized it was one person. So I don't think we did jump out, did we?
I don't think so. It was just a sudden, oh my God, there's people there.
And then, about a minute later, the boys came out and we ended up running with you back to the main trail. I think it's about 600 meters or so. And it was just really, really unusual to see somebody running back there in the dark because we had never met anybody back there in the dark before.
I thought you were going to say you jumped out and scared the daylights out of her. I was like, oh
We
my
would
goodness.
have. We were that close to jumping out and scaring her, but then we realized that it was one person and not two. So
Well, thank goodness.
thank
Yeah.
goodness that might have ended differently. So you mentioned the Dobson Trail, and you said you live near the Dobson Trail,
Yep.
and you went hiking a couple of weekends ago.
Yes,
Uh, it was a hiking camping trip, was it?
it was. So me, my husband, and my youngest son packed up our backpacks, and we left actually from our front door, hiked to the main entrance of the trail
Hmm.
off of Pine Glen. Met two of our other people that were coming with us, and took off. I think around 8 o'clock in the morning. Decided, however, we're going to do this today. Well, it took 3 days, 2 nights, but we did, I think, 25K the first night.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, 20,
Wow.
22K the first night. So, yeah, and then the second day was a little bit shorter, and finished it off on the third day.
Okay, and you
Yeah,
came out in Fundy Park.
came out in Fundy. One of the guys that was with us, his wife, we called her our trail fairy. So she was stopping at intersections where the trail met the road just to, make sure we had enough water and bring anything we may have forgot. So it was really nice. Their son, it was the first hike that he's done of this magnitude. So she wanted to make sure he was okay. We camped down there for our final night.
Okay,
Really amazing experience. One, because it's something I never thought that I would be able to do. My backpack weighed 55 pounds.
what?
How much did you say? Sorry?
55.
55 pounds?
Because when we went in September, with it being such a dry summer,
Yes, you would have to carry the water and
we
everything.
were to get water, so we carried I think it was close to 10 pounds of water on us.
Hmm. That makes sense.
And my luxury item when I go camping is I have a really nice camera, so I bring my camera, and then I usually have 2 or 3 lenses that I bring with me.
And you did it.
We did it, and now next summer we want to do the Fundy Circuit, and then eventually the full footpath, and doing Chignecto in Nova Scotia, and just different things around that. So
Well, the Fundy Circuit is amazing. I know that.
Yes, John ran that last week.
yes, I know. It's actually one of my things. I'm like, if I were like a little more into the trail running, that would be really fun to do.
Hmm. It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
It's
But
crazy, is what it is.
it is crazy. But hiking it is really nice too. And I hiked the Fundy footpath last September, and it is amazing. So I know that you will enjoy it.
I would like to go back to something that you started off with this when we first started talking to each other, and I had this in my mind. I just wanted to go back and ask you. You were saying that in gym class, when you were a teenager, that you really didn't like gym class. If you can look back and look at your gym teacher or teachers now, and they were to see you today, do you think that they would have ever thought, oh yeah, this girl is going to be like that later on in her life? Do you think that you'd surprise the crap out of all of them?
So it's actually funny that you say that. So one of my gym teachers, I actually did. So he was doing a boot camp in Salisbury, and one of my friends was doing it. So she's like, "Oh, well, you do all this other stuff. You should come do this with me some night. You're free." So I'm like, "Okay, no problem." He was talking to me after the class, and he's like, "I can't believe how far you've come. I've been following your story. It was kind of nice to hear that. He's like, you're doing like a really great job." So it was just kind of nice to see, considering, yeah, I the kid in gym class that's like, "Oh, really? Do we have to do it? Do we have to do this?"
Wow, that's amazing.
That must have been so great to hear.
It was.
Well, I'm glad I asked that
I'm,
now because
I'm glad you did. I love the answer. I want to know about yoga because I think yoga is a cure for everything. How long have you been doing yoga?
3 years, I think.
Okay. Do you do it on your own at home or do you go to a class?
I was going to classes. Kuma Yoga was doing hot yoga Sunday mornings.
Yes.
That time I didn't have anything going on, so I was doing that. I really liked the feel of their environment, and that's something that's really important to me is finding a space where I feel like I'm welcome, where you feel no judgment. You can walk in there and you know that everybody's there for the same reason. Since they closed, I've started doing it at home. Found the Yoga with Adrienne. I absolutely love her videos because she's got long videos, she's got short videos, and then she's got them broken down into, there's yoga for running, there's yoga for hips, there's yoga for backs, there's yogas for office, there's, take a 5-minute break from workout yoga. Like, she's got so many different things. But I found even just doing it once a week made such a difference in the way I felt, the way I moved, and just overall my body felt.
I have done some of the videos for yoga for runners, and I find it's very helpful. You must have noticed a big difference in your flexibility from your very first yoga class to now?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
My first yoga class, even those simple poses, you're like, oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the cake. You're like standing there in the pose, and you're like, why does this hurt so much?
Why can't I touch my toes?
and that's one of those things, right? There was a time where I could not touch my toes.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, oh, what, I can do this. So it's a lot of little things like that in a way you kind of take for granted, but you don't. And having the mobility, the flexibility to be able to do that, it's kind of eye-opening when you're like, oh, wow.
So you must have noticed that the increase in mobility and flexibility has helped you with your other sports and activities.
Oh, definitely.
Especially the football one, because the more agile you are there and the more flexible you are there, the less likely you are to get hurt. I'm sure of it.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, you're sitting in a squat, like the positions that I play, right? I mean, in a sense, a squat stance when you're on the line, and you want to be able to move fast,
right?
Be able to hit hard. So being able to have the body work the way it's meant to in those situations definitely helps.
Yeah, it's all in bursts, and you need to burst fast. You can't be lagging, so you have to be 100% healthy.
I mean, football play is, 10, 15 seconds at most.
Yeah.
Right? So,
unless you intercept the ball all the way at the other end of the field and you end up running all the way down to the touchdown line.
Yes. An amazing feeling. I've never done it, but there's people that have.
Oh, I bet your day will come.
I'm hoping. That is actually one of my goals, is to get a touchdown after an interception. But it's hard when you're, because usually when you're on that front line, you don't get a whole lot of interaction with the ball. So.
No, that's true. And you're the one with your hands up in the air, though, trying to knock it down sometimes.
That's right.
A pick six, baby. That's what it is, a pick six. Runner in.
That's right. That's the term.
I don't understand.
They just call it a pick six because you picked the ball, you intercepted the ball, and you run it in for a touchdown, which is worth 6 points. So they call it a pick six.
So that's good, right?
Oh, it's very good. So do you do your CrossFit as a family?
So me and my husband do it together. He's just kind of getting into it. He's only been doing it for, I want to say, like a year and a half. So, there's days where if I'm not able to go, then that's his kind of get out of jail free card. But he's getting a lot better. So this week, because he works a night shift in rotation once every 5th week, and that happens to be this week that he's doing that. So it's I will go to the gym at night after work, and he has gone by himself twice this week, which is really good for him. So I always applaud him when he does. But if I don't go, he doesn't like to go. I don't know. I think it's just more it's not the activity. It's more the getting to know people. He'd be in situations where he knows who's going to be there. So now that he's getting more comfortable with who goes to what classes and kind of familiar with the environment, it makes him a little more comfortable and willing to try it by himself.
Yeah, social aspect, that's a big thing to this. And if you're not comfortable in the environment right away, it can play havoc on your thoughts and how you tackle these things, right?
Exactly. And I mean, our space is very, like I said, it's very community oriented. And it's, very welcoming. And you just, I know when I walk through the doors, I feel at home. And that's the kind of atmosphere that they're trying to create. So I think he's getting more comfortable with being there. So which is really, really good.
And I'm sure they would be very happy to hear that you think of it as such a comfortable place to go.
Yeah, definitely. And I tell them that, when because they've only been open for at this location, or like as this gym, it's the beginning of August, so it's still very new for them.
Okay. So can we say the name of the gym? Are we allowed to
Yeah,
say that?
definitely. It's True Reflections Training is where I go, and it's over on Barker Street.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
They offer so many different things as far as like the normal, because it's based on the CrossFit platform, but it's not a CrossFit gym.
Okay.
We follow a lot of the same programming. We still do the gymnastic movements, the lifting, cardio. There's a big mix of everything. A lot of accessory work, stretches. Like you get a well-rounded workout, and they also offer what they call it their pump sesh. It's kind of like their boot camp style workout. So it's for anybody that's looking for type of environment but not want to do the gymnastics or the heavy lifting. So it's a lot of, if they do anything with any kind of weights, it's like dumbbells, like kettlebells, and a lot of body movement.
So it sounds like there's a lot of variety for a lot of different types of people.
There is, yes. It's a fantastic environment to be able to go, and it's a safe place. You walk through the doors and everybody is happy to see you. There's no judgment. There's no sometimes when you I know me being a bigger person, when I walk through into a gym, you feel that, oh, what are they doing here? Kind of, or it's probably just self-conscious, but that's, you get that vibe at some gyms. None of that here. It's, we're glad to have you, anything you need, let us know, like you're part of our family. There's congratulations, there's celebrations, it doesn't matter how big, how small. Like I strung together my first set, 17 double unders last week, and that was a huge thing, and everybody was celebrating when we got them done. So
regardless of your ability, you're welcome to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
And you are definitely motivated to move. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely, no doubt.
No doubt at all. Have you ever thought sometimes that your life is just crazy busy and it's too much, or are you exactly where you want to be right now?
All the time. But again, it's the balance, right? Like it took me a very long time to invest in myself and make time for myself. And I mean, it's gotten easier now that the kids are older. Even though they're older, they still have, school, work, different things like that, where they still need us to be able to come and pick them up or take them here and do different things for them. So we found a way to balance that out. That's why I said, like, that's why when I am able to run, I try to do my running in the morning, because I know first thing in the morning before anybody gets up, nobody's going to need me for that amount of time. And it's usually, anywhere from a half hour to 40 minutes. Same with when I do my yogas. That's usually in the morning before I start my day. The gym time, I either have it scheduled for 5:45 or 6:45 at night. Supper can be made, they can eat, I can eat when I get home. It works with their work schedules. That's because our daughter, she's in school until 5, so my husband picks her up on the way home. So we've just found a way to balance it all out and make it work.
Well, it sounds like you have certainly found the perfect balance for your family.
Perfect, but it definitely, there's weeks where everything that we have lined up just doesn't work. And, there's a wrench that gets thrown in, and you just kind of go with the flow and see what you can make happen. Weeks like that, I may only make it to the gym twice, but, when those things happen, then I look for alternatives. Like I've got some equipment here. I've got a treadmill here. We've got weights here. I've got a med ball here. There's lots of videos and things like that I can follow. So we try to find something to say for the fact that, we can't get to our normal routine today.
So it sounds like you're ready for whatever life throws at you.
Some days.
Some days.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite activity out of all these activities that you do, or maybe is there one that you consider least favorite. Now, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't do it. I mean, I'm not a huge trail running enthusiast, but I do it. That's part of the reason why I do it, because it's not my number one favorite thing to do. So, it's okay, I think, for something to not be your favorite and still be doing it. How do you feel about that? And do you have a favorite?
It really depends on the day. I would say, as much as I love running, there's days where it's not my favorite. Those are those days where it kind of gets into my head and it's like, oh my God, is this ever going to be done? But then there's those days where it feels great and you're like, oh yeah, I could do this forever. There's workouts at the gym where you're like, you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Least favorite thing at the gym to do is work on the assault bike. Because of that, I'm starting to force myself to do it more just because I hate it. So
right.
It makes sense to me.
trying to overcome it, I guess.
Yes, I understand.
My favorite thing, so two of my favorite things I'd have to say is I love playing football. Like I said, it's the contact. I think it's because it's different. You don't hear a lot of people playing football in the area, especially women's tackle football. So, when people hear that, it shocks them. So that's become one of my favorite things to do when I can do it.
And I think that's pretty cool.
And I love lifting just because it's something. Again, it's not something that growing up that I would have ever thought that I would do or want to do. Like I said before, I grew up in a small town, and my grandfather had a farm, so I grew up working the hay mow, working the fields, lugging hay bales.
Now, you had told us, or actually it was Diane that had told me, to be totally honest with you, that you had lost a significant amount of weight. Now, you talked a little bit about it, and you said, you came to a certain realizations, hey, I have to lose this. This is not right. And I had come to the exact same realization. Hey, I have to do something about this. If someone came up to you today and they said, hey, look, I really need to lose some weight, Melanie, could you give me any tips? Is there anything that you would say that you did that really worked for you that could help maybe someone else that might be listening to our podcast that might be struggling with this?
It's one of those things that's easier said than done, obviously.
It's very easily said, and it's extremely hard to do. Anybody that thinks it's easy is kidding themselves.
You can put on 5-10 pounds overnight, but it's going to take you 2 or 3 months to take that same amount of weight off. Like, some days I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? But I think that's the biggest piece of advice that I could give, is to not beat yourself up, not be so hard on yourself when it's not going the way you want it. It's been a long, hard struggle for me. Like I said, I've been battling with this my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm probably at the weight that I was at in high school, but I don't just look at the numbers, and I think that's important too. It's look at what you're doing, look at how you feel. If I compared myself now to my high school self, even being at the same weight, I'm healthier now. I feel better now. I know I'm stronger now. I know I've got more muscle now. It's not just to focus on that number, and obviously not give up. Finding something that you love to do as far as an activity is going to make it that much easier. Don't go out and do something because you have to do it. Oh, I'm going to join the gym just because I have to lose weight. That may not work for everybody, or it may be the type of environment. I joined, regular gyms. Like I was a Good Life person. I did the home gyms. I did the treadmills. Like, I got bored with that type of environment just because I was not motivated enough to go in and do something by myself. I needed to have a little bit of structure,
right,
and guidance. And that's what I found when I joined the gym that I'm currently at. We have a trainer. We all do the same workout together. It's a hard, 45, 60-minute workout. When you're done, you feel mentally empty, but it's a good empty, because for that hour, you're not thinking about what's going on in your life. So it lets go of a lot of stress. And that's a small portion of it. The biggest portion is looking at my diet. For a while, I was tracking, calories and macros, and I still don't understand macros. I don't know if I ever will. It was just kind of learning how to make healthier food choices. not beating myself up when I did have those special treats.
Right, exactly.
Somebody once said, eat what you love, leave what you like. So that kind of became a motto for me, right? Like if I, do I really want that chocolate bar? Am I really, feeling like I'm going to love that chocolate bar? It's going to really make me feel good tonight, or, will I be fine without it? So it's kind of having those kinds of decisions, because when it comes to your nutrition, there's so many things out there that it's hard to know what to follow, what to not follow. One day eating eggs is good for you, the next day eating eggs is bad for you. Like, I kind of focus more on, whole foods. We have a garden in our backyard, so peas, beans, and fresh produce when we can get it, or like the healthy frozen stuff. Trying to stay away from like a lot of extra processed stuff.
And it sounds like you have developed a very healthy attitude toward what you eat and what type of activity you like to do. So good for you.
Thank you. It's getting there.
It's a journey, right?
It is. It's one of those things. It's never ending, but I think it's coming to terms with that. That's a big thing.
It's a lifelong journey as well.
It is. It's not. It's coming to the realization that, what, this is not going to change overnight, and it's not going to stay changed overnight. Right. One thing that I've learned through this whole process is you never know who sees you, or who who's admiring what you've accomplished, and sometimes it's surprising. Like some of the people that have told me that I inspire them have it's really shocked me, because those are the people that inspire me. Right. And I've had people that they're, there's like some of the fittest people in the gym come up to me and say, you're so inspiring. I love seeing how motivated you are.
That's really good to hear, isn't it?
It is. It's really, it kind of, it shocks me. I usually don't know what to say when I'm in those situations, because I don't expect it.
Well, I can tell you what to do if anybody looks at you in a crappy way when you go to the gym next time. You tackle them. Then you take their gym bag and you spike it on the ground like the football, like you scored a touchdown, and then you kick it out the door and throw them out with it.
I will try that.
I think they'd be pretty shocked if you got in the stance and they were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then you went and tackled them. I think they'd be pretty shocked.
Let us know how you make out with that.
Yes, and anybody out there, please do not start tackling people just for the heck of it. Okay?
No, people might not appreciate it.
No, they probably won't.
So we usually end our podcast by asking this question, Melanie, and I just want to ask you, what advice would you today give to 18-year-old Melanie?
Don't give up, because there's been so many times where you just feel defeated. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've learned, and that's kind of what has helped me push myself to try new things.
That's not my dog.
No, that's mine.
Is that Fluffy? Is that Fluffy or is that Muffy?
No, that's
not.
Sounds like Killer.
It's not me tonight.
So that's Sadie. She's saying, "Pay attention to me, somebody. Love me. I need love." But yeah, so the biggest thing I think is get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I come up with Fluffy because years ago I was running down the road and this dog tore out of this guy's house when he was going out to his car, and it was a massive dog, and he was yelling, "Come back, Fluffy, come back." And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This dog weighs 150 pounds and you're calling it Fluffy? Like, geez, oh Christ.
That's perfect.
It wasn't perfect at the time, I'll tell you. So in the interest of time, I think we're going to leave it there this evening. For Melanie Marshall and Diane Treitz, I'm John Legroff, and thank you very much for joining us on Motivate to Move, and have a great evening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.